I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for August 13th, 2018. Meeting called to order at 6 p.m. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney? Here. Michelle Ginn absent. Dan Green?
Here.
Mary Himbert? Here. Allison McFadden-Kiesling?
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy?
Here.
Ann Rose?
Here.
Here.
Okay, I'll accept a move to approve the agenda for tonight.
I move to approve the agenda tonight.
I'll
Please.
second that, Debbie.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Call to the public.
Hi, I'm Julie Sislowitz on behalf of the Friends. Friends are continuing to evaluate pricing of books. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, where we're at for the used book sale. Where we're at thus far is that paperback romance books are going to be $1 like all paperback books, with the exception of those real thin Harlequin ones that will continue to be bundled. We've also decided that teen and young adult books will follow the model of $1 for paperback, $2 for hardcover. Yep. We're working on the children's books. That's a little more challenging. We're going to gather some information from surrounding libraries to see what they do. Our goal here is to be consistent in pricing, to spend less time with labels, etc., and to make it easier for our cashiers. So that's what we're trying to do. We have decided that only textbooks that have been published within the last 5 years will be accepted. Sometimes we get some really interesting ones, so that's what we're going to do there.
That's called vintage?
Yes, vintage. Good. We could have our own
textbooks.
section for that. The nominating committee is working to identify a slate of candidates for our fall general membership meeting. We have 3 people who have said that they're interested in joining the board. They're going to come to our September meeting, and so to see what it's like and see what we do, and so we're happy about that. And we are looking at potentially getting some insurance and or bonding for our board. So we're in conversation with some people about that and gathering information again on pricing. So we'll keep you in the know about what's happening there. That's it.
Very much. Sounds like you've been busy.
We have been.
I'd like to add a comment there, is that there was a time, and I hope this is still true, when other libraries in the area came to us, other friends came to us to see what we were doing, because we were the Cadillac of book sales, and I hope that continues.
Well, yeah, I will just interject. We hear often how well organized we are. Because people do go on the circuit, you know, to different book sales. So we're still hearing that, but that's not going to prevent us from also looking around and seeing what we can do better.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The call to the public is ended at 6:05. I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. There are 4 items tonight. Is there anything anyone wishes to discuss individually? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Library statistics. We have quite a few tonight.
We do. So I just have some notes from Brad regarding our Overdrive and Hoopla. They set new monthly records yet again this month for users and downloads. Overdrive had 621 users last month and 3,073 downloads. So that's huge. Hoopla had 269 users and 748 downloads. He also wanted to make sure, and I did mention it last month, but he wanted me to reiterate that we did subscribe to Canopy, which is a streaming video service that specializes in independent documentary, world language films, and also has a great selection of children's movies and educational children's public television programs. And that it's an extremely cost-effective way for us to offer our patrons access to information and entertainment even when the library doors are not open.
Is that now in effect?
It is, yep, Canopy is live and you can find it on the e-services tab on the website.
And they just need to use their library card.
Yep, just use their library card. I had a patron who called just as we were closing the other day and she was getting ready to leave on a trip and she said, oh darn, I'm not going to be able to get an audiobook. And I said, well, if you have a device, you can use Overdrive. Oh, I forgot about that. I think I have an Overdrive account. So she was going to sign on and do that. So people are using it and they're finding it to be very convenient.
Excellent.
That sounds good.
All right. The library director's report.
Okay. So in general information, 2 weeks ago I received a call from Independence Township's Safety Path Coordinator who is in charge of overseeing the lawn mowing of the various properties the township crews care for. He had 2 seasonal employees that resigned earlier than expected to go back to college and another who got a full-time job in another department. Because of this, the township will be unable to mow the library grounds for the remainder of this season. Since it was such short notice, and this is a very difficult time to negotiate with a contractor, I called our current snow plowing contractor who does lawn work in the summer season, and he has agreed to mow the lawn for the rest of the season for an amount that we had been paying the township to do the same work.
That's great.
Yeah,
Quite a bit.
I was a little panicked there for a moment.
Yes, yes.
This situation has never happened in all of the years the township has been mowing the library property, and I will stay in contact with the Safety Path Coordinator to see if they will be able to mow the library grounds next season or if we should plan to develop a new RFP for this service. So crisis averted, but there were a couple tense moments. And of course it was the week of our carnival being on Saturday, and I was like, the lawn has to be mowed before Saturday. So anyway, we worked it out. In terms of finances, this is the time of year when we receive our annual penal fine check. This year the library received $74,367.12, up from last year's $72,020.92. While last year's amount was down slightly from the year before, it was still a significant increase from a low of $41,145.62 in 2011. So it's been up and it's been staying up. This is also the time of year when the library receives the second state aid payment. This year was the first. The first check, which arrives in spring, was $12,944.36, and the second check, which just arrived a week or so ago, was $13,134.82, which is unusual because usually the checks are the same amount. But this year there was some additional funding added because of the importance of libraries supporting equitable access of broadband internet services. So there was a little bit of a jump in the budget that was reflected in that second check. Good. In terms of project updates, last week Allied Building Services constructed the wall and added a door to the administrative office. The job is nearly complete. They do need to come back and add the window to the door. This project is something that was encouraged by the auditor for security reasons, so it's nice that we've been able to finally get this done and sort of cross that off the to-do list. Next item, as the board knows, we are in the process of looking for a new head of adult services. The selection committee consists of Marilyn Pomeroy, who's the board president, Tracy Bedford, who's the head of Children's and Teen Services, Christina Bowers, who's our community relations volunteer coordinator, and myself. We received 25 submissions and interviewed 9 candidates with a variety of skills and strengths. This week we are conducting a second interview process with our top 2 candidates and intend to have a recommendation for the board before the end of August. In order to have a candidate appointed as quickly as possible, we may have a recommendation prepared for the budget workshop already scheduled for Tuesday, August 28th at 4:30 p.m. in order to prevent the need for an additional special meeting.
Sounds good. Pretty efficient.
I know how much we like having extra meetings. So.
Good thinking.
Yeah. So next item, we have held our kickoff meeting for the installation of the new phone system. The staff is currently going over the decisions that we need to make in order to facilitate the programming of the system. Once that has taken place, the running of the new lines and the installation of the new speakers will take place. The goal is to have this project complete and the staff trained on the new system by the end of September. Probably mid-September, but end of September is the drop dead date we're hoping for. And last but not least, from July 29th through August 1st, I attended the Research in Public Libraries Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. This boot camp style event was designed to immerse attendees in strategies to engage with the community, gather input, and become more data inspired instead of merely data driven, especially for taking on strategic planning. The idea of being data inspired means that you use the data you collect to grow, evolve, and innovate to better serve the community, and not simply to problem solve and troubleshoot. I will provide a presentation at a future board meeting regarding how we can begin using some of these valuable ideas and resources I brought back from this learning experience. It was fantastic, so thank you very much. It was worth every minute, but they had us from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, run. I think I went outside once the whole time I was there.
Which is probably just as well.
It was just as well, it was really hot. But it was a great conference, very, very worthwhile. I made some great networks, met some really neat people, and I have some people I can contact as we work on strategic planning to assist us in some other things. Great event.
Excellent. Now, to the agenda items, regular business. Select Performance Review Subcommittee.
So each year between September and December, there's an annual review of library staff, the library director, and the library board. In order to conduct the library director review and the library board self-evaluation process, the library board forms a performance review subcommittee made up of the board president and 1 to 2 board members. So I know it feels like we just did this. But I'll remind you that because it was our first year doing evaluations this last year, that you were evaluating me on a whole lot of time, whereas this year you just are reviewing me for years. So it won't seem quite so cumbersome.
And we're reviewing the process too. So the subcommittee will need to find a date when we can get together to review that. I think we can do that on our own.
Absolutely, a subcommittee can do that, yep.
So before you leave tonight, let's touch base with our calendars. Okay.
No, I don't know who you wanted to have on your committee. Nikki did say that she was available.
Right.
If you wanted to change up your committee at all, so I think what you want to do.
Right now it's Jan, Dan, and me.
yourself.
Is that still acceptable?
Well, if Mickey would like to do it, I can step back for a minute. I do plenty of committees.
Yeah, I'd like to go for the second term there on that subcommittee.
So,
But yeah, I would like to be on it.
Okay, so we will discuss this after the meeting and I'll contact Mickey. All right,
Okay, so it'll be Dan, Marilyn, and Nikki then?
okay, Marilyn, Mickey, and Dan.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
And the next item is to say, you'll notice in your packet, you do have the review plan and the board self-review plan are listed there. So we need to just review these and make sure we have all our ducks in a row so that we can complete this process between September and December, preferably before December, but during this last 2 or 3 months of the year. And once the board has done their self-evaluation, we will have been through the entire process once, and we'll see what tweaking needs to be done to make this as efficient and useful a process as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you say that there's a copy of that in today's?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is right there. So we will set a date for the board self-review. Do you want to wait until after the subcommittee has completed their?
The meeting that you're setting in this particular point would be a workshop for the board self-review discussion. And that has to be, according to the plan, has to be a public meeting. So the only thing that you need to make sure that you do when you set that date is let me know far enough in advance so we can get it posted properly.
Is it 2 weeks?
No, it's actually, I believe, like
A day and a half?
a day and a half.
Oh,
Yeah, it's short, but I like to do it much further in advance than
Sure.
that. So just to make sure that people have plenty of time if they're interested.
and do we need to get together again on that committee that was Marilyn, was it?
I'm
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It was me, I
Yes.
know, and Ann, I remember. Were you?
And Esther, yes.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
got it.
Memorable.
Yeah.
So we have another group here.
Yeah, so
Well, you
we
were-
probably, do we need to go over it? We need to go over that form one more time?
I think
or-
so.
You approved it all,
Wait, I
so.
thought-
Okay,
Yeah.
well, good.
Your
But then
charge
we don't
was-
have to, that works for me.
Your
I had-
charge was to create the system, and then it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the self-evaluation, or that the performance review committee will do both pieces, the library board and also lead the self-evaluation piece. And that your charge was to create the system, but
Okay, so I'm done?
I think so,
Okay.
based on what I read. but
I love it. I love it.
It's just that they get confusing when we're
Well, yes,
trying to
because
look
there's
at
so
all
much
of
going on. Oh,
these.
that's good.
I think
so.
you're set,
All right.
unless you want to do more.
No,
That would be up to Marilyn, I guess.
So I think when we vote to tweak when we meet to tweak the process so far of the other evaluations, then we can make the recommendation for when we want to have the public meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Does that sound?
The one piece that was left up in the air after the last, or after last year's director performance review, a couple of staff members had commented that the staff input form being the same as the library board's review of the director was a little confusing. There were things that you were asking them for that they wouldn't necessarily be able to answer.
Answer, especially about us,
Well, not about the library board, but about the director.
about the director.
So.
about how the director
Yeah.
relates with the board, because
Yes.
they're not in the room when.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right.
a couple of people had given you some potential tweaks for that, but then somebody else said, no, it's fine the way it is, just let us know that. So you have to decide if you want to change that form first or
I
not.
think we're going to try it out. I thought that's what thought we would do, is we would give it a go.
Well, this is the director's form, not your form.
Right.
This is
Oh.
the one, we've already done the director once.
Okay.
This is why it's confusing.
Yeah.
And you did the library board
Right,
performance
right,
review,
right.
and that system is brand spanking new.
Right.
But the director's form that had been used to review, where the staff could give input about me, some of the staff
Right.
members said it was asking questions that they didn't feel privy
That they didn't
to
know.
answering. And that they
I
wanted
think-
they
yeah.
wanted their own form.
Well, and then that certainly is one approach, or simply in the instructions.
Let them notice,
Say, if this is an area that doesn't apply to you,
Yes.
disregard it.
Which was kind of the response I got when I asked the department head. Two of them gave you a couple tweaks that could happen, and one of them said, it's fine the way it is, we just skip the questions, we don't know. So I guess it's up to you if you want to change it or not.
So when we meet to discuss that, we'll
Figure that out.
make a recommendation.
It works for me.
Okay.
All right.
So the goal is that we'll take a look at this, and then we'll make a recommendation for when to have the public meeting. Okay, number 3, we need to set the regular meeting schedule for next year.
And, yep, and I've already been told by a couple of people on staff we should have done it last month, so.
Oh, dear.
They like to be on top of it. Okay, so let me go into the calendar here, to make sure we have room.
I brought in 2019, so in case we have questions about
Well,
holidays, et cetera.
yep, and then we also need to make sure that we do it by resolution, so it's a roll call vote. Okay, so January, usually you do that meeting a little bit early because that's when you set your officers. Do we still like Mondays at 6?
Sure. That's all.
Yeah,
Works for me.
that's fine.
Works for everybody?
Okay. So the first, January 1st is on a Tuesday, so the first Monday in January would be the 7th. If that
It's
sounds,
good if we don't have any conflicts.
anybody have any conflicts on January 7th?
Not at this point, no.
Yeah.
That's why we get this on the schedule first.
So I would do it in advance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do January 7th. Then from then on, usually you try to do about the middle of the month, just because it gives the accountant time to put financials together if you need anything. Now, that's only a quarterly report, so that's only an
But
issue.
it also has to do with the statistics.
Yep, the statistics can't be done if you do your meeting too early in the month. So it looks like in February, before this open, the 11th, there's a program, the 18th is a holiday, the 25th.
I can't do the 25th. Actually, I don't.
What were we we saying, the 11th is open?
No, the 11th, there's a program, there's a children's program.
How about the 4th?
That's why I said they told us we should have done, we could do the 4th. You want to do the 4th? You're not going to have statistics.
And was there a reason we couldn't do the 18th?
It's a holiday,
Oh, yeah.
President's Day.
Okay.
Either way, it's fine with me to either.
I have a
It's
better
kind of a
chance.
long time between meetings to go from the 4th to
It is.
the 25th, so.
Well, should we go ahead and do it the 4th and?
I have a better shot at being here on the 4th.
Okay, let's do the 4th then. All right, March. March, it looks like 4th, the 11th has got a program, we could do the 18th, sure,
Okay, that works.
March 18th. Okay. All right. So,
Also pay attention to book sale.
first, the book sale,
It's not going to be a
in
problem.
April ends up being like the first, almost the first week of May. Preview night is April 30th, and it's because Easter is, the way Easter falls.
Easter's late this year.
It's late this year, yep.
It went from the 2nd last year to the 22nd.
And it pushes, and because of when setup takes place, it's not so much that the book sale's a problem, but that weekend before creates a problem with setup. So it looks like for April,
Is the 15th open?
maybe the 15th, yeah, the
Okay.
15th looks pretty good. Let's do April 15th.
15th?
15th, yep. In May. Okay. We will not be doing anything early in May. All right. It looks like the 6th is open. The 13th, there's a program. The 20th?
20th?
20th sound good?
Yeah.
And then the week after that would be Memorial Day.
Right.
So, okay, so we're doing the 20th. Nope.
Okay, June.
And into June. June is always messy because that's when, now we're talking summer reading programs, so.
Yeah.
And because school gets out early because they're starting before Labor Day, so their kickoff event is Monday the 10th. So we could do the 17th.
Okay, that's all right.
Does the 17th sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. All right, July. The 1st, the 8th, now we're getting into it where we're far enough in advance, not too much is on the calendar. How about the 15th?
Yes, the 15th in the center, that looks all
Yeah,
right.
it's right in the center.
Mhm.
July 15th, okay.
Sort of matches up the other.
Yep. Middle of the month has always been good for timing. Okay. August 5th, the 12th, the 19th, or the 26th.
How about the 12th?
Okay. Any objections to August 12th? Anybody have their calendar so far out into next year?
I do not really.
Well, I have some things on my calendar that far into next year, but
Not too many, probably.
nothing that's conflicted here yet.
Okay, good. All right, September, the 9th, the 16th, and then we're getting into book sale. The 23rd is book sale setup, and then the
Or
30th.
do we want to
so
go with the
maybe
16th?
16th, yeah.
Since it's in the middle?
Yeah, also September 16th.
That's my birthday, but that's okay.
Well, we'll sing.
We'll
happy
celebrate.
birthday.
Sing, we could have cake.
Cupcakes, always have
Okay.
cake. Fun.
Always up for cake.
Congratulatory cupcakes.
I'll be 37. No, I got
Oh,
got those numbers mixed around.
dyslexia.
Okay, so we're up to October. October 7th, October 14th, October 21st, October 28th.
How about the 14th?
14th, sure.
On Columbus Day.
And into November. In November, the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, the 25th, and Thanksgiving falls on the 28th.
We're a polling place, right?
We are.
What other election, what,
Election is on the 5th. So how's the 11th look?
Oh, not
11th.
in
yeah, I was
2019.
gonna say it's an odd year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
we're-
know if
we're
I missed
next year.
something. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
We're not a polling place in the city. They do odd year elections.
Okay.
We don't do odd year elections in the
Oh.
township. So we're good.
So we have elections on the brain.
Yeah, so the 11th or the 18th maybe?
11?
11th?
11th, okay. Now we're into December.
Grand finale.
That's right, okay.
How's the 16th look?
Actually, doesn't look good for me. Oh, I can do the 16th. Yeah, sorry, I can.
It looks good, actually.
Yeah?
December 16th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Whew, that was relatively painless. All right, let me
It was.
read them back to you. Please correct me if I have anything incorrect. I have January 7th, February 4th, March 18th, April 15th, May 20th, June 17th, July 15th, August 12th, September 16th, October 14th, November 11th, and December 16th. Sound good?
Okay.
And just so that you are putting this in the back of your mind, your term expires December 31st of 2019. So there will be a process of placing a board for next year before the end of the year. So it's a good time to think about who might want to stay on, who might want to step down. That kind of
And we need to reapply, is that how we do
thing. They'll need to
that?
reapply, yep.
When do we reapply?
If we-
Usually, I think in the summer, like August, I think they do the appointments, September, October, in that area. I'll have to double check, but I don't know, we only do this every 3 years. So.
Time flies.
Time flies, indeed.
In that case, we need a motion and a roll call vote. I'll accept a motion for accepting the meeting schedule.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we set the 2019 Library Board regular meeting schedule.
Jane Gaffney,
Yes.
Michelle Dan absent, Dan Green,
Yes.
Mary Himberg,
Yes?
Melissa McFadden Keeson,
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy,
Yes.
Ann Rose.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That was relatively painless.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's move on to number 4. Okay.
So this is about a budget adjustment for building and ground line item. As presented at the July Library Board meeting, we have had significant additional expenses in our building and grounds maintenance line item so far this year. We budgeted $51,100 in the 2018 budget. As of the second quarter financial report, we should have spent $25,550, but we had already spent $42,944, which is a difference of $17,394, leaving only $8,156 for the rest of the year. It is not uncommon for the rate of expenditures of some line items to be irregular, so I suggested to the board that before we discuss the budget adjustment, I wanted to investigate large unexpected expenses that might have caused this. So, here's the results of my research. Specific items that caused concern include snow plowing expenses that were nearly double that of last year, so $12,000 more than we usually spend. The unexpected replacement of the water heater at $1,500. The replacement of the emergency backup lighting and additional emergency lighting in the public restrooms as recommended by the fire marshal and our safety consultant for $4,000. So these expenses total $17,500. While we do budget for some unexpected expenses, we have definitely exceeded that cushion already this year. It would be my recommendation that we make a budget adjustment of $15,000 from fund balance to ensure that we will be adequately funded for the appropriate building maintenance for the remainder of the year. And if this exceeds the funding that is actually needed, the remainder will simply revert back to fund balance at the end of the year. These funds are available in fund balance, and proper maintenance and the correction of any deferred maintenance on the building, such as adding recommended emergency lighting, has been a board priority for the past few years. And you'll remember when we talked to the auditor, he did recommend that we should be spending some of our fund balance on these kinds of projects. So.
Okay, I'll accept a motion on this issue.
I move that we approve a budget adjustment of $15,000 from fund balance to line 931, building and grounds maintenance.
Is second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve a budget adjustment of $15,000 from fund balance to line 931. Any comments or questions concerning this? We've discussed some of these overruns in the past, so we knew they were they were with us.
And without those additional expenses, we were right on the money.
So many of our other line items were like within a few dollars of where we should have been at the 6-month mark. And so this one was so far off, and I thought, I want to go back in and see what's going on. And it was some significant deferred maintenance.
And they were almost the exact amount
Yes,
that we
they
were
were.
off by. So, I mean, I think that it was a really well-done budget.
I like to think we're getting better at this.
Any other comments or questions? If not, those in favor of approving this bond adjustment or this budget adjustment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Number 5, review of the business area project.
Okay. Over the course of the past several months, our business and marketing librarian has been talking to the business community and local chamber regarding library services that would be beneficial. Once again, we are hearing that meeting space is a key need in this community, so we have been developing a plan to transform the current business area. There's a photo in your packet.
A photo.
Yep, I will show it up on the big screen, into a small conference area. So I'll present the proposed project and we can discuss timeline and funding. So I'm going to turn the light off up front so that it's a little bit easier to see this photo. I'm going to take my cheat sheet with me. So we can talk about what exactly is involved in this project. Okay. So let's start with the photo. I was having a little technology trouble earlier, but hopefully it will cooperate this time. Here's my photo. My photo is gone. Oh, that's not the right photo. Okay. Hang on just a second. Yes, I know. Come on, little photo.
Just takes a minute.
It just takes a minute, it does.
It was open a few minutes.
I know, I showed it to you and you, oh my goodness, it's gonna be one of those days. Okay, let's see. Maybe having meetings on a Monday isn't the best time to do this.
Oh, well, we can talk about it again in 2020.
Exactly.
I mean, it opened right up.
I know. I don't know why it's not working.
I'm glad somebody else has these problems.
Well, and I didn't even think you closed it. I thought it just.
I didn't, it must have closed itself.
Yeah,
Which
that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. Okay, hold on. Well, we'll have to do this the hard way, I guess. We'll have to do it from the plan. You have the photo in your packet.
Yes.
So let's do it that way. So from the photo in your packet, this is the space that is across from the circulation desk. And it includes the seating area. It's the area where the photocopiers used to be. It includes the 2 study areas, the 2 little study rooms. So this is an overhead, and where your photo is taken, I believe I got my laser pointer here. Okay. So the photo that you're looking at was taken from this space here, facing this way. Does that help you get your bearing?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So you're looking down this little aisleway, and you're seeing these 2 little doors. And then there is currently, this is all open. So the first thing that they're recommending that we do, you'll see on this wall right here, there's a soffit that comes down. They would recommend removing that soffit to just 6 inches from the ceiling. And that would open up this whole space. Right now, the soffit actually creates lighting that used to shine down on the photocopiers. Obviously, we don't have photocopiers there anymore. So that particular space, we want to open it up so the lighting is even in this room.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing that we would do is we would create, in order to make this a study space, we would be using a wall system, a glass wall system. And what they're suggesting that we do is that we put in these glass walls here, this would be a sliding door, this would be a glass wall, and then they would take out this wall and this wall, and also make these glass walls with swinging doors. These little rooms, while they are lovely study spaces, are extremely closet-like.
Yes.
So by making this wall glass and this wall glass and making the doors glass, it would open this up and make this a much more desirable place to study.
Makes it safer too.
Makes it safer too as well, yep, very good. So then the other thing that they are recommending, so the pieces to make this into a meeting room, we would get a group study table and we would get 8 chairs. Trevor would like to add Claris boards. A Claris board is a little bit like, it's like a great big whiteboard, but it's made out of glass and it is completely, you can write on it with basically just about anything and it comes clean. So you can use any kind of markers on it, you can use any kind of, it's a great opportunity for people when they're having meetings to be able to talk, to write, to think out loud, that sort of thing. And he would like to put in 2 of those. We would put in a flat screen television in order to be able to do PowerPoint presentations and things like that instead of having a screen. In the tutor rooms, we would add table, new tables with USB that were appropriately sized for the room, 2 chairs in each, a Claris board because a lot of tutoring and studying goes on in this room. And then also this one, we would use the same connect tracks under the carpet wiring that we used in order to power this table. So that would run from this wall underneath this table so that there would be power in the middle of this table. So just like these.
Now, would the tables in the tutorial rooms where the people are facing that wall, are those movable?
Yep.
So in
And
other words, they could
go the
face
other way.
the Claris board if
Yep,
necessary?
they could go the other way. And they would be appropriately sized for the room. Right now, the tables we have in there are oversized for the room. I don't know what was originally in those rooms, to be perfectly honest. The tables that are in there, I do not believe are original. The tables that we would get, these would also match the ones we have in the adult seating area.
Okay.
So it would be similar. We would get rolling chairs in here that would match these rolling chairs and would also match the ones that we have in the adult computer lab. Okay. Any questions about that? So given all of this construction, and it is broken down for you on your proposal, so we're looking at adding, glass walls and changing out these walls, adding quite a lot of furniture and tables and chairs, that sort of thing, and then all this wiring would all be included in this. The total for the entire project does come to $65,843. Questions about that?
I think it's a good idea. The space is really kind of wasted right now. I never see anyone really sitting there.
It's not really conducive. And we looked at a bunch of different things. We had talked about making it sort of a seating area with almost like almost like bar seating here with high stools. That was the original thinking, and the more Trevor talked to the business community, what they were looking for were places where they could get together and have meetings. A lot of the local businesses don't have enough space where they could sit down and either meet with employees or meet with other business owners, meet with people from the chamber, that sort of thing. So this is really a needed thing. It also helps us out because in terms of space, we have this room, which is quite large. We have the youth activities room, which you can see a larger group than this space, but it's not, because of the way it's designed, it's very childlike. It's
very bright.
Red walls and the yellow, blue, and green floor and that sort of thing. So while it has its purposes and it's great if you're doing things that are messy and that kind of thing, it's not really conducive to a business meeting. Yes.
Would the group study room be, there's no charge to use it, so I could schedule a group, there's no charge?
Great.
Okay. Because then you go straight for school, or maybe a
Yep.
business meeting, but it doesn't matter. It's-
The tutor space, these study spaces are on a first come, first served basis, and the way we handle that is that you come in and we give you a time card and you get an hour, and as long as no one is waiting, you can stay in as long as you like. But if somebody does come in, then the person who's been in the longest, we bump them in. So that's how we keep this one rotating. We discovered that creating reservations for these little rooms was problematic because people would reserve them for the whole day, but might not stay the whole day, they would just reserve them for the whole day. So that was problematic. But this space would be set up for meetings, and it would be something the business librarian is really hoping to be sort of in charge of. He wants to sort of be the gatekeeper of reserving that room.
Now, the glass that would be used, which is nice because it keeps the library looking more open,
Yep.
how protected is that from damage?
So this is a similar design to what we're looking at. You'd have to picture sort of flipped in our case, because you can see the sliding doors here. In our case, the sliding, if this were our hallway, I think the sliding door would sort of be right here, and this looks to me like the hallway that would go down to the study rooms. But that gives you a feel for sort of what it would look like. It is a tempered glass. It's a thick glass. We opted for them to put in the thicker version of the glass to make sure that it was soundproofed. The nice thing about this glass is that we can add, in the same way that we've done the windows on the east end of the building, we can use translucent window clings to either promote something or just for various, if we were to receive a donation from the community to help fund the room, we could recognize donors, that sort of thing on that piece. So.
Let me ask you something. You've been around a lot of libraries and been around libraries for many years. Do you feel like that this is about $66,000 is a good investment?
I do, actually. I think this is a good way for us to show the community that we are maximizing every square inch of this building. What we're doing with the computer lab is we're looking at it and we're saying, wow, we're seeing the usage for the computers going down, but what we are seeing need is the possibility that that room might transition into a computer lab. So I think in a data-inspired way, we sort of thought about that evolution of what comes next. We moved that space or those cables with the data out into the open space so people could move out, and we're slowly transitioning that into a meeting room. This is the same kind of thing. This is a space where we're not seeing people using it as they could, so how can we make this sort of wasted space into something that would be very dynamic and usable by the public, and we think this is a great way to do it. We think by putting in the glass walls, because it is a very small room, it won't feel cramped.
Then we would have 4 meeting rooms.
Yes.
One more tech-oriented,
Yep.
which used to be the
As we
computer
transition
lab.
the computer lab into a meeting room.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
We're not there yet, we're almost there. We're in that process. But yes, we would have a varying sizes and varying purposes.
I love the design, I think it's beautiful.
I think it will be something that the public will really like. The nice thing about going with this clear glass is that, like I said, if we get it in there and we determine that the clear glass feels too much like a fishbowl, we could add window clings or something to it so that it could be translucent, or that you can see out but not in, that kind of thing. So I think this is a really great solution.
People will really know about it.
They'll really know about it.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yep, and this is a great size. We get a lot of requests for rooms for 6 to 8 people. And so the youth activities room is a little bit bigger than what they're looking for, and maybe not the feel that they're looking for, because it is with the hard floors and whatever, it's kind of a cold room. It just feels cold. And then this room is way too big. And we use this for so many other purposes. Yeah.
Who worked hard on this particular project?
This was a group project. This has been a group project from the very start. Trevor has done most of the research in terms of what the community wants. When it came time to determine the actual design, we worked with Library Design Associates. They're very good at making sure that the space fits with libraries and the way that they work. That included Christina, who is our community relations person, Lawrence, who is our head of adult services, myself. Bill was in on it as well from the technology aspect when we started talking about the flat screen TV and the Claris boards and those kinds of things. So this really was a group effort with a lot of people doing a lot of homework to get us to this point. In terms of timing, this is not something that is currently budgeted, but we're trying to figure out the timing, when would be the best way to do this. Basically what would happen is if we were decided we wanted to do this right now, they're gonna have to order all of this stuff. They're gonna have to order the walls, they're gonna have to order the chairs, the tables, all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of lead time. So I'm thinking we can either think about, as we get a little bit closer to the completion date, the installation date, doing a budget adjustment to do it if it were to be ready to be done by the end of this year. But my feeling is it's probably by the time they order everything and get it in, we're looking at next year in terms of when we pay for it.
So that when we hold our budget meeting for next year,
Yep,
we could address this
yes.
as part of the 2019 budget.
Absolutely, because I'm thinking by the time, what I want from the board at this point is a nod that yes, we want to do this, because I can get the ball rolling, get library design ordering these pieces. They're not asking for us to pay for it on the front end, but we will need to have a plan in place for paying for it when it's complete. And I really think based on the lead time on a lot of this stuff, we're looking for installation probably in January, which is why the timing of this project was really complicated. Trying to figure out exactly when it was.
And nothing on the front end for them?
Nope.
No payments?
No, they don't work that way.
And we have worked with them in the past.
We have worked with them in the past, and we've been very pleased with their work. They actually did our adult seating area. They did our space planning in 2008 when we had all of the carpet done and rearranged the entire building.
I've used them in my work too.
Yep, and they're very good at what they do. Now, Chris DeBear, who was the basically one of the owners of the company, has retired, and he has turned this part of the project over to Kyle Hanning, but we've been working with Kyle Hanning. He was in on some of our previous projects as an observer and as an assistant, and this is the first project that he would be doing for us entirely on his own. So.
Okay, any other questions before we decide to move ahead? Exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
I
really.
think it's an excellent idea. I'll accept a motion to give Julie the go-ahead to move ahead with the project.
So moved.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that we advance this project and start the ordering and installation planning. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Thank you. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it has been a long time coming.
A lot of work in there.
It's a design that was started by our previous business and marketing librarian, and it has evolved over the
A lot.
course. A lot. And I think that we've finally come to what is best and what will be the most usable
to the community. Yep. Thank you. At this time, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That we are adjourned at 6:47.